I'm Dana Brooks of the Fasig Brooks Law Offices, and I'm joined with my law partner, Jimmy Fasig, and you are watching another episode of Come Back Stronger, where we bring to you stories of amazing people who have overcome significant adversity in their lives and come back to not only have a stronger life for themselves, but to inspire growth and performance in other people by their leadership. So we have an interesting person on today. This is
Chaplain McMillan.
Chaplain McMillan from the Florida Hospital in Chattahoochee, and he's struggling with a medical condition, Jimmy, we've had experience with in treating our personal injury clients, and I particularly had a medical malpractice case on this one time, and it's people who get Bell's palsy, and that is when it could be a couple of reasons. Sometimes it's trauma, sometimes it's just an aggravated nerve, but their face droops and it's one-sided, and it's scary. And it has a lot of significant medical problems with closing the eyes, drying corneas, things like that, but also in the way people are treated because they look different and their face can be unsettling. But he's an inspiration. We've got Kimmy Hogan's interview with him coming up, but you've known people who've struggled with these it's not just disabling and you don't know how long it's going to last.
It's a nerve issue.
Yeah.
It's a nerve issue, and actually I have something going on in my own face that has a nerve issue, so I certainly sympathize with the chaplain. But what I love about him and about his story is how, and I think this is real important for every comeback story, a strong belief system, an empowering belief system that helped him get through the story, get through the challenges that he had to face.
Yeah. So many people it's easy to do, and it's okay to do it for a while. Why me? What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
I'm a good person. I'm a chaplain. I help people. I bring them peace in their lives at times where they really need it. Why is this happening to me? And I didn't hear that from him. I didn't hear from that. And that tells me a lot about his strength and his faith and how he wants to carry that mission and lead by example to the people he serves.
Yeah, every challenge that we face, every injury, every obstacle is an opportunity to reevaluate our lives and to come back stronger than ever. And that's exactly what the chaplain did.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to hear this. It's going to be, after the commercial break, we're going to have Kimmy Hogan, our law partner, her first interview with Chaplain McMillan right after this.
And you know what the insurance company offered him? $5,000. Really? He's completely blind, and they offer him $5,000. Ask him to sign a release.
To a lot of people, especially when they're hurting and when they're down and when they're vulnerable, $5,000 is a life-changing amount of money. Yeah. And they're not looking at the value of what has been lost. They're not looking at what it would take to make that person whole, which is our job. Yeah. That's our job. Their job isn't. Their job is to save the insurance company money. Right. And they look at this person and they go, I bet $5,000 would get your full attention. Right. And they come in and they dangle it with a settlement release, and then once you sign it, you're done. You can't come back to us and ask us to wave a magic wand and make that go away. That can't go away.
My client didn't accept the $5,000. We took him all the way to trial. We got a $5 million verdict.
And now we are back for Kimmy Hogan's first interview with Chaplain McMillan from the Florida Hospital in Chattahoochee. Take a look.
Alan McMillan, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So you are the chaplain at the Florida State Hospital, is that right?
Yes, I am.
And for our viewers who are watching, what is the Florida State Hospital?
Florida State Hospital is the largest mental facility in the state of Florida, house anywhere between 1,200, 1,300 residents at a time. And there's a vast array of residents. Some are forensic, meaning they have charges pending, and then some are residential residents from facilities inside the community or outside the community. Yes.
Tell me about the residents that you serve at the Florida State Hospital.
Wonderful individuals from all different backgrounds, different ethnic backgrounds. Some of them have mental issues, some of them have physical and mental issues. Some may have come from birth, and some may have come from this experiences in life, trauma, that we all go through. So, I mean, it's a pleasure and an honor to serve them because I can not only sympathize, but I can empathize with them because of the things that I've been through in my life and experiences. I can understand how one can go down that road and have to deal with those issues in their life.
And you have been with the Florida State Hospital for over 26 years.
Yes, ma'am.
So are there residents that you've known for that long a
Yes,
period of time?
I always like to share with them, and I joke with them. I say some of them, we grew up together.
Yeah.
Because when I came in as a young man in my early 20s, some of the residents that I served at that time, got to know when I eventually got on the hall a year later, were in their 20s as well.
Oh,
so
wow.
over the years, I mean, we have grown together, and I really created quite a rapport with them, a positive rapport with them. So we can talk about anything, and they feel comfortable talking with me because they know me.
It's like your family.
Yes, exactly. That's what we call each other. You know, I don't refer to them, even though I know the technical term is residents, but I refer to them as my brothers and sisters because that's what they are.
So what do you do as chaplain?
Well, chaplain, each day I service those within the dormitories with Bible study, church services. I provide literature. I get tons of calls for Bibles and daily bread devotionals, and just a listening ear to be able to communicate and just talk with them and hear their problems or just share.
So I know you didn't start off as chaplain. Tell us about your history and how you worked your way
Well,
up there.
I started there as a housekeeper, working in the kitchen and housekeeping. And through the years, I was able to get on the hall as a regular staff, as a HSW1, a Human Service Worker 1. And just worked my way up from that point onto supervising, and then the chaplaincy came open, and by that time, the Lord had called me to be a preacher, so I just filled out for it.
And that's been over 26 years that you've been there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am, 26 years.
Well, we're having you here today because you have a comeback story. About a year and a half ago, you were diagnosed with Bell's palsy, is that
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
And that kind of threw your world for a spin.
Topsy-turvy.
Yeah. Tell us, what is Bell's palsy?
Basically, it's an acute peripheral palsy, which palsy is a paralysis, a temporary paralysis of the face. It can attack either side of the face, left or right, and usually it lasts maybe a week to a month. But I had a special case, I guess, because mine lasts 11 months.
Oh, wow.
Yes, ma'am.
So what happened? Did you just wake up one day?
Well, actually, it happened July the 14th, 2020. I was in the middle of preaching a sermon at the hospital on a Sunday. Never forget it.
Yeah.
And my pastor was in attendance. He usually dropped by just to listen and give support. And I noticed while I was speaking to the residents, he was looking at me kind of strange, with a serious eye. And I said, wow, he's, I must be doing a good job. He's listening. But actually, I didn't know what was going on with my face at the time. I kind of felt like my lip was swelling up, like swollen. But they were able to see me. And he said, it appeared that you are having a stroke.
Wow.
What he told my wife when he went and called my wife and said, you need to come up here and check on Burrow because he's not looking too good. It looked like he's having a stroke. The whole right side of my face began to droop and twist, my mouth twist. So, but to me, it just felt like a swollen lip, like you bite your lip and maybe, it swells a little bit.
And it just came out of nowhere?
Just came out of nowhere. Never had any problems before then. I had at that point, up to that point, I never heard of Bell's palsy.
Were there any warning signs for you that you were about to have the paralysis attack?
The only thing that sticks out in my mind was a real bad headache the day before. My wife and I and my son, we went to Havana just to walk around and look at the shops and just shop a little bit. And I noticed halfway through our journey of walking around the area, we parked and walked around the streets. I couldn't make it. I just had a real bad headache, and it was like almost blurring my vision type of headache. And I told her, I said, I need to go back to the car. So I don't want to, bum the trip out. So you and my son, you go forth and then just shop. I'd be okay in the car. And she was like, no, if one of us got to go, then all of us are going to return. But I remember that headache.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I went home and she gave me some medicine. I slept it off the next, on to the next day, and got up and the headache was gone. And I thought everything was back to normal, but halfway through my sermon, that's when it hit.
So what have you learned about? Tell us about the research that you've done since.
Well, I thank the Lord for YouTube.
Yes.
Because I was able to go on YouTube and I saw videos of not only doctors explaining Bell's palsy and the type of condition it is, but also people who had lived it and continue to live it. And I saw, and they were looking just like I was looking in the mirror with, my face twisted, and I was like, wow, I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
So it gave me a sense of hope. It gave me a sense of knowing, because, think about it. If you're diagnosed with a condition that you have no knowledge of, you don't know if is it fatal? Is it terminal? So I was in that point in my learning. As I began to learn, it began to give me a sense of encouragement and hope that this can turn around. I don't know when, but I have faith that it will.
So tell me a little bit about the journey from that first moment to where you are now.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, doctor's appointments every week, sometimes 3 or 4 a week, rehab, a lot of uncomfortable nights, not being able to close your eyes because of the palsy, because of the paralysis, the temporary paralysis. My eye was unable to blink. So my wife had to apply ointment to my eye every night and tape it down.
To keep it moist.
Yes,
Yeah.
and just be able to go to sleep.
Oh, sure.
The irritation from it, like you say, keep it moist, from it drying out, the irritation was horrendous. It causes you to, it feels like something's in your eye, and it causes you just to rub your eye constantly, and that wasn't doing me any favors.
Yeah. So it looks like you can close your eye now.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, you do. You look great.
Thank you.
So what is Bell's palsy something that you get over, or is that something that affects you for the rest of your life?
It depends upon the individual. Each individual has a different story with it. The doctor shared with me that it could be a recurring condition, meaning I could have a relapse. He said, but it's highly unlikely, but it's always that possibility.
Yeah.
He told me upon me coming to him for the condition, he told me that it was only going to be a couple of weeks, but as the weeks turned into months, and the months turned into more months, and into almost a year, I was doubting whether I was going to be able to function, and do my job, because my job entails me to be able to speak.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was unable to speak clearly because my mouth was twisted.
So we're going to go to break soon, but when we come back, I want to hear all about how having the condition affected your work, and then what you've been doing and how you've been using that knowledge since then to help the people that you do at Florida State Hospital.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's pretty. It's. I'm hearing things about being humbled.
Yeah.
I'm hearing things about I don't understand this. How long is it going to be? Can I continue doing what for him obviously is a calling?
Yeah.
That's not just a job. That's a calling. So, what are you thinking as you hear him describe his journey?
Well, one thing that I love about him is how he is passionate about the people that he serves.
Yeah, he calls them his family.
He calls them his
friends
family,
and
brothers and
Yeah,
sisters.
brothers and sisters.
And so he's a chaplain in a Florida State hospital, which is, a lot of the patients are having some very severe challenges. And this, like you say, it's his calling. He considers them family. And I think that kind of gave him the strength to move forward, but it also provided the fear that he wasn't going to be able to continue doing what he loves to do.
Yeah.
So that's why he started having the doubts. That's why he started to, even a man of faith he's going to have
still a
doubts.
man.
If you go through this and he's like, well, is this going to kill me? Is this going to be long term? It's going to be forever?
Yeah.
And imagine it goes on the doctor says it's going to be a couple of weeks, and it goes on for months and months.
He had a long course with this, and I could see why he would start questioning.
Yeah.
it's easy to have faith when someone says this is going to be a couple weeks, month. But when you are dealing with this months and months, you're doing 2, 3 doctor's appointments a week. You're burning through your time. He'll get into that in the second half, and how the financial impact of this journey has affected him. But there's also a lot of things about this condition. People can be unkind, and like the person I was telling you about in one of our clients, hers was caused by a surgical error. It was a medical malpractice case, and so hers was going to be permanent forever. And so you've got a whole different life, and then people see you and treat you differently when you look in a way that is unsettling to them, and it could be anywhere from young people to just people who are ignorant and make assumptions about you. But it's a hard journey, because it's not just something you're suffering with in silence. People see it on you. They don't know if you're in the middle of having a stroke. And that is important. If you see someone who is having these symptoms, don't assume it's Bell's palsy. Assume the worst and get it ruled out and go have an evaluation for a stroke. But I'm excited to hear how he, the second part of the interview with Kimmy, where he talks about what he was able to do to get his head around this and literally come back from it stronger. So we'll be back right after this break. I think people don't understand how harmful it can be to wait. Evidence and people are in the wind. If you need a video of something, that could get recorded over within sometimes 24 hours. So it's not, I ran to a lawyer right away. No, I stood up for myself and preserved evidence and preserved my rights.
I had a case where one of my clients got her finger stuck in a door because the door closer had rusted, and the company had done a terrible job of maintaining it. But she came to us within days of having her finger amputated, and it was so important that she did that because I was able to get an expert to fly down to that condominium to inspect the door closer. I mean, we had evidence within 2 weeks, and we were able to get a wonderful settlement for her, but we wouldn't have been able to if she hadn't have called us and
That would have been
contacted
an
us.
entirely different case, even 2 or 3 months later. And we are back. We're getting ready to hear Kimmy Hogan's second segment of her interview with Chaplain McMillan. Take a look.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So throughout all that time, while you were having the physical discomfort and the pain, how were you able to stay positive?
My faith played an enormous role in it.
Yeah.
Not giving up, always having hope that things would get better, even when it was kind of sketchy whether it would or not.
Yeah.
The doctor told me it's a small chance, but it's a chance that you could stay like this for the duration of your life.
Oh, wow.
So that played into my psyche. How would I live life going through, with my face twisted, not being able to blink, not being able to really hold down a job because of the Bell's palsy and all of the side effects that came from the condition. Migraines, pain, constant pain, irritation of the eyes, all of that. And it did a psychological, job on my psyche, but I thank God for faith.
Yeah.
Faith in just believing in Him and knowing that things would get better.
And they did.
And they did.
So you, during this time, were you able to work? What were you doing for the job?
Well, during the 11 months that I was out, I was unable to work because of the doctor's orders and because of my eye not being able to close. Shortly after the doctor released me back to work, sorta in the beginning, in the first couple of weeks of it, he wrote me back in to go to work. So I was able to return for maybe 1 day. But after my boss saw my eye, she was like, "No, you can't be here like this, and with the residents and your eye not being able to function correctly. You have to have your vision to be able to see, things happening in front of you in real time."
Yeah.
So that's when I was out from that point on 11 months.
Wow. And you live at the facility as
Yes, I
well,
do.
is that right? So
Yes,
that must have been scary, not knowing if you're going to lose your job, if you're going to have a place to live.
Amen. Yes, my wife and I share a place on the grounds that came with the position. But if you don't have a job, you don't have a house.
Yeah.
So that was part of the stresses too. Imagine being out with a condition you know little about, and then thinking about your future your immediate future. And then my wife, I thank God for my wife, Tawana McMillan. She was able to hold the fort down while I was recovering. She worked double shift overtime to compensate for my, lack of being able to work.
Yeah.
I was able to get my salary, I say part of the way. After a while, I ran out of time and the allotted time that they would give someone on FMLA.
Sure.
Yeah, and I had to get donations from other workers, and that lasted for maybe a couple of months, and then the donations were not allowed to go through. So now my time, I went down, the lowest I went down was maybe $8.46, getting a check for
Yeah.
$8.46. So that was real, it's real tough.
Well, I'm so glad that you are on the other side of that. I'd like to talk about how you got better and when you got better. Was it something that all of a sudden overnight you woke up one day and you were better?
Well, I had a lot of rehab, and I thank God for those workers at Tallahassee rehab facility. It's based in Quincy. It's a Quincy outpost of it. The main office is here in Tallahassee, but they work phenomenal. One of my rehab specialists, his name was Mark, and he introduced the electronic muscle, I would call it electronic muscle stimulator.
Okay.
And we tried that. He asked me would I feel comfortable trying it, and I say sure. At this point, I'm not turning down anything, please. I just want to regain my face, regain my life back. And he tried that, and it was painful at first, but I started noticing sensations returning. And one morning I woke up and I went to the mirror and I was able to see the lines. See, because before it was almost like a bad Botox. I couldn't see any lines, and I saw the lines, and I've never been so happy in my life to see crow's feet, as they call it.
You said, thank God for the wrinkles.
Yes, thank God for the wrinkles, because it mean that, things were getting much better.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
That's wonderful. So how have you used what you've gone through to help your brothers and sisters at the Florida State Hospital?
Amen. A sense of faith, strengthened my faith, encouragement. The residents even told me, they say, you are encouraging because we knew that you had to be really sick because you hardly ever missed any time away from us like this.
Yeah.
And they was wondering, it was really, the support from them was enormous. The cards and the get well cards and the messages they would send, because my Pastor Ron Vickers, he was in my stay while I was out. So he would give me messages when he would come back to let me know how the service go, and say, man, they really miss you. And I said, I miss them too.
Yeah.
So just being able to inspire them, through what I went through, it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about patience, a lot about research.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, having to educate yourself and learn exactly what it is that's, happening to you. And I was able to share with others, that may have known about it, but not really known about it.
Well, your attitude and your heart are an inspiration, and I just want to thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thank you for having me once again. My pleasure.
And of course, he turned this into a way to inspire other people. I would expect no otherwise.
Inspiration,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So my favorite takeaway is that, for one thing, faith and hope is the antidote to fear.
Yeah.
He had the scariest time of his life. His face is drooping. He can't close his eye. But on top of that, he's worried about losing his job. He's worried about losing his home. And the only thing, you go through something like that, the only thing that's going to get you through it is faith and hope. But here's what I like about it. The other thing is that he didn't just sit back and rely on faith and hope.
Right.
He went to a
allowed to
lot
inspire
of
him to action.
rehab. He did. That's it. He said. Kimmy said, "How did you get through it?" a lot of rehab, and because he took action, and that's what actually made him get better.
Right. Faith is a wonderful thing, but faith a lot of time requires work.
Yeah.
It's,
Yes.
Movement. Doing something other than, lamenting the fact that this happened to you and I'm a helper and I do so much good, why is this happening? That's not the focus. It wasn't his focus, and I think that is why he was able to come back and help so many other people. He talked about Tawania, I think I got her name right, his wife stepping up, because so many men, especially when they're providers that way, they feel like, oh wow, every burden's on me, I'm letting my people down, and it can be emasculating, demoralizing, and it's so great. I bet his marriage was strengthened by it. He says she's such a faithful person, and she was such a good wife for him. But when we come back after the next break, we'll just wrap up with some takeaways from Chaplain McMillan. Stay tuned. She contacted me almost in a fugue. She couldn't believe that it happened. And something told her, this is not right.
She had lost her daughter.
This is not right. My little girl should be here, and I'm going to do something about it. She contacted me, and I went to see her, I think that day. And we sat at her dining room table, and she showed me the program from the funeral. And I met her sons and saw her gravesite, and I just told her, I don't know what happened, but I'm going to find out, and we're going to do something about it. And she and I bonded right then, and she's been in my life ever since. And seeing how she has used something that is an unimaginable loss and found some way to live a better life and make a better life for her son. There's nothing better. We are back. Jimmy, rarely is somebody's comeback story singular, only about them.
Right.
Most of the time it involves what you learned and how you help other people.
That's what I love about the chaplain story, is that he took the challenges that he went through and the lessons that he learned to make him a better chaplain, so that he could serve the people that he serves even better.
Yeah.
He learned the lesson. He's talked about learning patience.
Yeah.
You go through 11 months of your face paralyzed, you're going to have to learn some patience.
You are.
Yeah.
You're going to have to realialize faith is not instant. But we tell people all the time, we encourage mentoring, and that's a form of ministry. I always think it's important to let people see you suffer and struggle, lose your cool, because they're looking at you to see how to adapt and how to handle these sorts of problems. So I think God put him exactly where he was supposed to be.
Wholeheartedly agree.
So anyway, thank you for watching another episode. If you know someone with a great Comeback Stronger story, please reach out to us at Fasig Books and watch our Comeback Stronger groups, participate in them, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for watching.
Hi, everybody. Just because you have a pre-existing injury does not mean that you are not entitled to compensation for the injury being aggravated or exacerbated by somebody else's carelessness.
I talk to new clients all the time, and they're concerned that because they had a prior neck injury or back injury, that they can't bring a claim now that they've been made worse.
Right, absolutely not.
And so I'm so glad that they call so we can explain to them that in Florida, no, we're able to get you compensation for any way that your body has changed in a negative way because of this accident.
Yeah. I've also had clients who've said, well, I think I'm partially at fault here. Do I have a case? In Florida, you can be partially at fault. You can be 90% at fault, but you still have a case for the other 10% that was somebody else's fault. That's incredibly important for people to know, because that can turn out to be a lot of money. That can be a life-changing amount of money.